President Kiir removed Awet Akot and Kuol Manyang and Wani Igga did, President consulted the senior leadership of the SPLM, and what was the reaction from Kuol Manyang and Wani Igga and Awet Akot? And thank you.
Absolutely no consultation whatsoever. I think they themselves were just shocked because it's such a drastic action that, given the status of Wani, Awet, and Kuol, these were basically President Salva's own colleagues. These are the people who are actually leading the movement. To be just unceremoniously dismissed like that, I think must have been very shocking. But definitely, nobody was consulted. Maybe there are other people that Chairman Salva consulted, but not within the leadership of the SPLM. Nobody was consulted.
And all of that did not materialize. I, as a doubting Thomas, how is the South Sudan Salvation Movement going to fix it? I hope later on, when he comes back from the break, he can address these issues. I think I'll stop here.
Okay, thank you. Secretary General Majong Mako, you take over.
Thank you so much, the viewers in the clubhouse and the Lex Media team in the studio. We appreciate General Nhial Deng Nhial for coming back and for also fixing the light. We really appreciate that. Abraham Wolich, you can proceed from there.
Right. Well, thank you very much. Honorable Nhial, once again, it is a privilege to chat with you. Your show, as we expected, is highly anticipated, and there are existential questions related to South Sudan in general that are lingering in the minds of many people in South Sudan. One of them is there have been a number of agreements. One of them is internal agreement in the SPLM, the Arusha agreement, and the agreement on the resolution of conflict in South Sudan in 2015, and the revitalized agreement. And then there was that Rome initiative and the visit of Pope Francis and the moderator of the Church of Scotland, as well as the Archbishop of Canterbury, trying to push the leaders of South Sudan to embrace peace and to embrace unity. And you had the resolutions of the South Sudan National Dialogue, a long process that took 4 years and culminated in the resolutions, final resolutions, as well as a final report. None of this has worked. Who is frustrating these processes? Who is responsible for the frustration of these processes? Why are these processes not able to be implemented and to engender the democratic transition that the people of South Sudan has been demanding? You have a moral responsibility as a leader to expound on this and tell the people of South Sudan, why have we tried everything and nothing seems to work? And the speaker that you have just heard was lamenting the fact that all these things have been tried before and nothing worked. Why would SSSM be different now? So that is an open-ended question.
Okay. Yeah, I think these agreements that you alluded to, of course, are not the same. They came in different circumstances and different contexts. The Arusha Agreement of 2015 in January, I believe, which was mediated and sponsored by Chama Mapinduzi Party of Tanzania, was an attempt, basically. It was not just only to reunify the movement, but I think the thinking was that you could achieve peace, because we had also the Addis process going on in parallel, The thinking was that through unifying the party, maybe you can achieve peace. What you are not able to achieve in Addis, you could achieve it in Arusha. Now, it did not work because I think for Arusha, it was not implemented because I think too much water had already gone under the bridge, to say so. Basically, I do not believe that at that point, Dr. Riek Machar was ready basically to give up the SPLM-IO and come back to the SPLM. Because the SPLM-IO itself has diverse constituencies within it. And I believe that there were certain constituencies in the SPLM-IO to whom the idea of the SPLM coming back to the SPLM-IO coming back to the parent SPLM was anathema. And then that's why Arusha did not succeed. The national dialogue was a very good undertaking, basically designed to find consensus on governance among the people of South Sudan. And they gave their consensus. In fact, I actually believe that the national dialogue, the outcome of the national dialogue itself, should be used by the National Constitution Review Commission as a key reference for drafting the Constitution, because the outcome of the National Convention has already captured the consensus of the people of South Sudan. Now the National Constitution Review Commission is engaged in doing exactly the same thing that the national dialogue did. So it's basically repetition, and time could be saved by just taking the resolutions and the recommendations of the national dialogue and using it as a reference point for drafting or preparing the first draft of the permanent constitution. But again, the reason why it has not succeeded is because the national dialogue is a key to unlocking the transition, and the transition, unfortunately, for tends to lead to results that the powers that be do not want to see. You see, basically, and I've made it very clear in my declaration, the problem is that why are people dragging their feet in implementing the RRCs? Because the end game of the RRCs is not palatable. It's not politically palatable. The end game of the RRCs, where the people of South Sudan themselves now determine their destiny and select their leadership, will probably throw out the current leadership. That's the point.
Excellent. Well, the other broader question that many people of South Sudan have in mind is that the opposition so far has been fractured, and therefore they have not been able to mount significant pressure on the government to make it necessary that changes must be made. And now you have declared a new movement, and you have declared your intention to join forces with the UPA. You have a number of other opposition groups that are not part of the UPA, and that include the group that is led by Shirilo. And you have now Nathaniel Oyet, the deputy of the SPLM-IO, also no longer in Juba after his leader was arrested. To what extent are you and collectively as the leadership of UPA willing to reach out to all these groups so that you can unite your position? And could you and in what ways are you going to demonstrate democracy the way it is expected? Because many people believe out there that the SPLM leaders, that include you and Honorable Pagan and Paul Malong and even Gerald Thomas, there is a general belief that you guys are not Democrat by nature and by training and by virtue of being members of the SPLM. So how are you going to demonstrate? In what ways are you going to expound and demonstrate that democracy that you are advocating for? So that is a question that is lingering in the minds of many people, whether you can come together and whether you can actually champion democracy.
Actually, you brought a very interesting point when you suggested that maybe we SPLM, we all came from the SPLM, are not Democrats. Yeah, maybe during the liberation struggle, perhaps, you know, democracy was not really the main preoccupation. People were busy with maximizing pressure on the regime in Khartoum through all means, including the armed struggle. But as I mentioned earlier, the reason why people took up arms, and most of the people who took up arms did not do so because they wanted to be soldiers, but it was a means for liberation, you see. And phase one, the phase of the armed struggle, is over. And unfortunately, the armed struggle gave many of our people the sense that the weapon is mightier than the word, you know. And this explains why we have had a lot of problems along the way, even when we were still a liberation movement. You know, for instance, and later Dr. John used to tell us that people used to come to the SPLA in batches, you see. The original SPLA, or the founders of the SPLA, or those who flocked to the ranks of the SPLA upon its founding, were people in the greater Upper Nile region. So the majority of those people were Nuer and other Dinkas of Upper Nile. These were the people actually who fired the first bullets. The next batch was from Bahr Ghazal, and then the third was from Equatoria, and so on, until we went to Western Upper Nile and so on. Now, some of our leaders, they had this idea that you know, if your group or your nationality are sizable within the SPLA ranks, then that can be a reason for you actually to lead the movement. Those problems actually did not start in 1991 with Riek Machar, as some people think. No, it was not Riek Machar who was the first person to do that. Others before him tried, but unfortunately, those problems were nipped in the bud. We managed to overcome them. And then 1991 happened, you know, and Dr. John used to tell us that when he used to come to the training, when we were still under training, he would come and talk to the trainees, and he would tell us that, you know, it was not a political education. He was telling us that you be alert, be on the lookout, you see, because sometimes now, after a while, some of the politicians will come to you and tell you that, now you guys, you are now the majority. Most of you are the ones carrying guns in the movement. Why don't you take over the leadership? And he predicted. So actually, 1991 was predicted by Dr. John, but it actually started before 1991. Interestingly, with people of Bahr Ghazal, that was around 1987-88. You see, so it gave. I think it became part of our DNA. You see, arms become part of our DNA, and unfortunately, we have now decided also to manage politics with the gun. You see, now. The armed struggle necessitated carrying weapons. After the armed struggle, after South Sudan now has become a sovereign, independent state, power now goes to the people. It belongs to them. Yeah, we have to put down the guns, and if we want to continue running the country, we go to the people to give us the mandate to do so. And the SPLM can do that because the SPLM was not just founded to liberate the country, but was founded with a mission, which actually involves state building and national formation. You see, and so it's by its very nature, the SPLM should be democratic in this phase of the struggle. The SPLM must be democratic, because now we have to recognize that the power goes to the people. We used to say that the army will go to the state, because the army, we SPLM, those who carried the guns in the SPLM and became generals, did that as an instrument for liberation, but we did not want to become soldiers. So after the liberation, those who want to continue to become soldiers, they'll go into a national army where all SPLM South Sudanese nationals are there. It will be a professional army, it will belong to the state. You see, the government will be contested. If the SPLM has a program, has an agenda that appeals to the people of South Sudan, then they will elect us and give us the mandate to run the government. The only thing, so the government also belongs to the people of South Sudan, doesn't belong to the SPLM. What belongs to the SPLM is the SPLM as a political outfit. But because of its mission, it's supposed to be democratic by its very nature. It's supposed to be democratic.
Well, thank you, Honorable Nhial, for expounding that. Now, the other broader question is that at the moment in the country there is, the situation is tense. You have high-level court.
Maybe there was another second part of your question that I did not address. I think.
Okay, go ahead. The unity of the UAP and other people who are outside UPA.
Yeah. The unity of the opposition, basically, I believe that its objective again is to introduce political change, which is long overdue. I mean, the opposition groups, their mission, their responsibility is to bring political pressure to bear on the regime to accept political change. You see, and for us in the UPA, or for us specifically in the SSSM. Our primary tool is dialogue and negotiations with the regime. I still have not completely abandoned the hope that President Salva Kiir will at the end of the day will be convinced, you see, of the necessity to unblock the transition and allow the people of South Sudan to have a say in how their country is governed. Allow the people of South Sudan to express themselves in their constitution on the governance arrangements that they would like to have in the Republic of South Sudan. This is our position as SSM, the position of the UPA. Of course, there are other opposition groups that maybe are purely using the armed method. It is their choice, but of course, even the UPA, of course, if it becomes impossible, difficult or impossible to convince the regime of the need for peaceful democratic transfer of power, then of course all means will still be used to achieve that objective. But the unity is paramount, you see, because the basis of that unity is the need for political change. Political change as the first step is essential for all opposition groups. You see, we don't need to split hairs now about what government to form. No, that's not our objective now. Our objective, all as opposition, is to create the opportunity for the people of South Sudan to express themselves by writing their constitution and to be able to select their leaders through free and fair election. This is the goal that is common to us, and therefore that common goal necessitates that we unite in order to achieve the first phase.
That is excellent. Well, the follow-up question to that is that there are people, members of UPA and others, and people in the general public who believe that in the event that the government doesn't accept a roundtable conference or political dialogue and all of that, could the opposition groups convene a national conference and come together around, build consensus around the political transition, and even go as far as using the South Sudan National Dialogue Resolution to draft the constitution outside the country? Do you think that would be a relevant or a necessary step?
I think that would be a plausible course of action, because basically what we are trying to do is to use all means possible, all pressure points, you see, to bring about that change. If the government does not wish to engage with the political forces, you see, in a political consensus on governance, then as a means of exerting pressure on the government, the opposition should be able to go ahead and forge this kind of consensus, because if that is happening, then probably the government will find itself isolated. I don't think that the government can afford to refrain, you see, from such an exercise, because if it doesn't wish to participate in a national dialogue conference or roundtable or whatever, which is aimed at reaching consensus on governance, it simply means that the government wishes to rule indefinitely, and that is the problem, because that's where the violence comes in. It will be untenable, you see, to continue ruling indefinitely without political transfer of power in a democratic fashion.
Now, one of the last questions that I may have is that do you have any comment on the high-level court case concerning Dr. Riek Machar and his members, and what are the implications for national unity and the unblocking of the transition that you are talking about?
Well, if at all Dr. Riek Machar and the other co-accused colleagues of theirs have a case to answer, then it is critically important that that is established through a fair and transparent judicial process. You see, basically, their fate should depend on the legal merits of the case. Not, I mean, if there is a reason to prosecute them criminally, let them be prosecuted criminally. Let us not have them politically persecuted. Let us have criminal prosecution, not political persecution. And that means that the case should be left entirely to the courts. There should be no political interference or manipulation for any reason whatsoever.
Okay. Well, there are, I have few other things related to international and regional engagements. The African Union, IGAD, and to some extent the East African community, and even the UN, people appear to have given up on trying to get South Sudan to the path of democracy and peace. And the collapse of Tumaini initiative seemed to have created uncertainty within the region and the international community to create to exert another effort, which they believe is not going to be successful. What do you think is needed? What message do you have for the region and the international community to re-exert that effort?
Well, we applaud the efforts of our regional organizations, IGAD, AU, and the international community. Those very keen to see peace restored to the country. But given the approach and the attitude of the government, it appears that they do not have much leverage in terms of changing the situation in South Sudan. But the situation in South Sudan without change cannot continue like this for long. I think the internal dynamics now are such that if the efforts to bring peace do not bear fruit, then I think the situation will be resolved by the internal dynamics. In which way, we do not know. But as they say, something will have to give. Sooner or later, something will have to give. Yeah, but I think the IGAD, AU have made a lot of appeals, to the government, basically telling the government to restrain itself, not to do things or take decisions that undermine the implementation of the agreements. But it seems that these actions are continuing, and to that extent, there's very little that they can do. But I think the internal dynamics of the situation in South Sudan will probably bring about changes.
Right. Well, you have two constituencies. There are young people in South Sudan, youth and women, who are the victims of the recurring crisis in the country, what message do you have for them? You have another constituency, the people in diaspora, and in particular, you have a constituency of some SPLM. These are actually original members of SPLM, the group of Jejal Amr, or the group that some of which who migrated to the West, commonly called the Lost Boys. They are part of the vision and product of the SPLM, and it appears they have been disconnected from the affairs of the country. Do you have a message for them, and do you have a message for the youth and women of South Sudan? What should they expect from you, from SSM, and from the UPA?
The women, of course, and the youth of South Sudan are central to this struggle. As you correctly pointed out, the women and young children continue to bear the brunt of the fighting and of the suffering in our country as the result of chronic political instability. So these are a constituency that has a vested interest, you see, in change and the restoration of peace. And to that extent, I would consider them critical to the movement for change. And I would expect to see them being given the opportunity and participating in a very big way in what organizations like the SSM and other opposition movements are doing. This for the women and the youth in general, including the people in the diaspora who are actually members of the SPLM. As I said earlier, the SSM is actually for them. Those members of the SPLM who believe that it is high time for things to change, this is their organization. As for the Jeshamar, of course, I mean, when they were sent abroad to get education, they were too young to be actively recruited into combat roles. So they had the basic training, but they were sent ahead abroad to get education, training, and to acquire the skills, simply because in anticipation of the fact that the struggle being waged by the SPLM, SPLA is a multi-phased struggle, and that there would come a phase where fighting would no longer be needed, where national building would require a new skill sets. And so people were sent abroad to prepare them for the future. That was the forward thinking of the leadership of the SPLM at the time. Now that time has come, and as a matter of fact, the current period or this era actually belongs to the Jeshamar. It is actually the turn of their generation now to stand up and be counted. So they should not at all hesitate to seek active involvement in such an organization like SSM and all other opposition movements, because it is their time now to come to the fore. You see, the Jeshamar now, these are the people in their most productive years, in the 30s and the 40s. These are the people. So for us, we are just like people who are just leading the way. There is a practice in some of these countries that follow the socialist path, whereby leadership actually changes by generation. When the time comes for the leadership to go, they all go, and then they only leave the chairman or one person basically to kind of lead the way for the next generation to take over. So this actually is the time of the Jeshamar. They are the people now with the dynamism and the skills, to lead this country and take care of the second and the final phase of the liberation, which is state building and nation formation. You see, the development of the Republic of South Sudan, such that we can actually reach our potential, is their responsibility. The building of the social fabric of the Republic of South Sudan, bringing us all together as diverse nationalities, is their responsibility. So the second phase of the struggle of the SPLM has now come, and they should now come and be at the forefront and lead it.
Thank you very much, Brother Majuk. Now I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Abraham Wallich, for that meaningful and intellectual conversations in regard to South Sudan governance system and our relations with the regional bodies and international community. I have two questions, Honorable, before we hand it back to the comment sections and the citizens in the clubhouse who are actually waiting patiently in order to throw in another two questions before we let you go. I was to ask about the vision and the missions of your party, of which it seemed like you have captured during the answering questions of Abraham Wallich. I will not dwell much on that. But there is one question many South Sudanese have been asking, that what make you move out of the country and come and make your declaration instead of declaring your political move within the country? What can you say in regard to that?
That's a very, very good question. To be very honest, I even had to leave the country before even contemplating making the declaration. I, unfortunately for me, I've been perceived as being an obstacle to some people who have been handpicked ascending to power. And as I said earlier, I've never, I mean, if you go through the history of the SPLM, I've never been quoted one day saying that I would like to have this position or that position. What is that there are perceptions, there are perceptions about all of us in the SPLM, and there are people who, for one reason or another, think that somebody like Nhial can be a leader. But the perception is different from my position. I've never sought or declared that I want to be a leader, and so because of these perceptions, I've been a target, and so it was basically in order to be able to stay safe and have the freedom and the liberty that I had to leave. Had I not left, I don't think I would have been here speaking to you. I might probably have ended up being given the same treatment that some of the people have now been given in Juba. So it's a very easy question to answer. It would not have been possible for me to do what I'm doing now. There's no way I can make such a declaration inside the country.
So, in other words, Honorable Nhial, you were threatened. Your security was threatened.
Yes, I received an information that I would probably forfeit my liberty. I would forfeit my liberty, not my life, but my liberty, which more or less is amounts to the same thing.
It's the same.
Yeah, the same.
You were going to be detained, like a Kolokor and
Riek Machar and his colleagues. Yeah, definitely. That's where I would have ended up.
Continue, Benjamin.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for that. And most of the citizens actually understand the reasons that pushes you out of South Sudan to come and make your declarations outside the country. Before I move back, there is a simple questions from the football team. I think they need to hear from you. People have been asking that you are so much attached to a certain football team in London. Which I don't want to mention because I'm a supporter of Manchester United.
Well,
yeah, what can you say in that regard?
Fan of any particular team, so I can adjudicate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I do not know how people like myself, who are political leaders, how they are perceived. But political leaders, before they become political leaders, they're just normal human beings. They've got likes, they've got dislikes. There are people who hate them, there are people who like them. So just like a normal person. And let me also just give you a little bit about my background when I was growing up in Sudan, in Khartoum. And I used to tell people that I'm not looking to become a leader. I'm not eyeing political positions, but what was instrumental in prompting me to join the SPLM in its formative years is also my background, my family background. But growing up, I was not particularly like a political activist or something of that sort. In the university, of course, we were active in the African National Front, because as South Sudanese, we were politically active. But I was just a normal person. I spent a lot of my youth basically in sports. I was a basketball player. Played a lot of basketball, and something that a lot of people do not know is that even when I graduated, I didn't immediately work as a lawyer. I was basically earning a living playing professionally in the Gulf. I was playing basketball. I was really that good. So I've been associated with the sports for a very long time. It's part of my life, and I happen to be a supporter of Arsenal, which is something. It's a normal pastime to weekends to spend watching TV. But I've never traveled to London for the specific purpose of watching Arsenal games. This is not true. This is a lie. I believe that it's a much better pastime than other activities in which one can be engaged. Maybe some of your viewers, some of them, of course, those who are inclined, who are sports personalities, probably know that Paul Kagame, who is one of the luminaries in terms of leaders, you see, on the African continent, he's an avid Arsenal fan. And you know what Paul Kagame has done? Paul Kagame has used Arsenal to promote Rwanda as a tourism destination. So there's nothing wrong with being a sports fan. It doesn't prevent me from doing my job or what I need to do. But some people try to make a fuss about it as a way of maybe trying to discredit me, as somebody who doesn't do his work but actually is much more interested in football. As a matter of fact, even when I joined the SPLA, a lot of people were astonished. Some were actually shocked. Well, they said that, wait a minute, but Nhial spends most of his time playing basketball. Why does he go to the bush? And even some of my colleagues actually in the Attorney General's chambers where I used to work were even more shocked than South Sudanese, because they were saying that, look, such a brilliant South Sudanese lawyer, why would he go and run under the trees in the bush with people who... So you don't judge a book by its cover. What is important is the substance, not the appearance.
Now you prompted me, Honorable Nhial. I don't need to ask more questions, but you prompted me. You have said that, during the movement and in your life, you had no aspiration to become a leader.
Yes.
Now, do you have aspiration now? Are you ready to lead? Should you have the opportunity to lead the people of South Sudan, or you rather operate behind the scene? Isn't it your time to lead now?
I think the most important element of Wallach in leadership is not your desire, whether you want to be a leader or not. It's basically whether people think that you can become a leader. If people feel that you need to step up to the plate and lead people, then it would be all right, because it simply means that you have acceptability there is acceptability that you should lead, because and that's why I consider the choice of the people as being very, very important, because if you take up a leadership position, if you have got the support of the people, or if you came into that position because of the people, then you have a mandate. You can work, you can perform. But if you come there by accident, or if you impose yourself, the condition may bring you, then it's a different story altogether. Yeah. But my position now in the leadership of the SPLM is what actually has prompted me to take this step, because even a lot of people are divided. There are people who are very critical of the move that I've made. There are people who are saying that it is long overdue. Why did you not make it earlier? who actually happen to be the majority. So conditions force you. Sometimes leadership does not just come; it is created by circumstances. You see, in the hierarchy of the SPLM, I find myself being right next to those who have been removed. So for as long as the SPLM is still alive, I have to perform. I have no choice whether I like it or not. My status in the SPLM dictates upon me to take a leadership role, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's not easy. We may succeed, we may not succeed, but all the same, at the end of the day, it is a responsibility that people expect you to take.
Excellent. Continue, Majuk.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for that. We really appreciate. To our viewers, we are almost coming to an end, and we have not covered most of the questions because the show has been too long, and we will have another talk show in regard to this. But before that, those who are in comment sections, the team in the studio will display one questions, and those who are in Clubhouse, prepare only two people to throw in some two questions. Before I yield it to those in the studio, I have one person here on the phone with me, Mauna Yor. You want to ask Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial one question. Mauna Yor, if you are ready, please you can throw in your questions.
Okay. Can you hear me now? In this, people hearing me from the studio?
Yes, I hear you in the studio. Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Lake Media, for this wonderful interview with Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial. My question will be in the regard to unilateral decision that our president has made recently dismissing Wani Igga, Awet Akot, and Kuol Manyang. I believe in 1994, President Salva, by then, he was a commander. There was, during that time, we were young people, we were hearing there was about to be a change in the leadership. At that time, we were hearing that Dr. John was in a position to change Salva. And that time, there was a lot of commotion in the movement within the leadership. Salva was not happy. He was accusing Dr. John Garang by making some unilateral decision by himself, not through the hierarchy or through the meeting as Nhial has indicated earlier. Now, the same, to me, I feel like President Salva fall into the same narrative in which he accused Dr. John during that time by making unilateral decision. My question to Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial, if there is any correlation to what Salva was not happy during the movement that time with what President Salva in the regard to the decision that Salva has been undertaking during this time. I don't know whether my question is clear.
It's okay.
Yep, your question is clear. It's whether there is correlations between the current decision President Kiir is making and the past events between him and the late Dr. John Garang.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you.
Yes, possibly. You see, first of all, I think the two situations, of course, are quite different. I mean, the complaints by President Salva at the time that Dr. John was undermining him and maybe grooming people like Nhial Deng Nhial to replace him. It's totally unfounded. There's absolutely no evidence for it. Even if you were to ask Salva himself, give me the evidence, I don't think he'll be able to give you any proof that that it is true. In the case of the dismissals of those of Wani, Awet, and Kuol, there is a specific provision in the SPLM constitution that says that this must involve the NLC. I don't think the NLC was called actually to debate the possibility of removing the three comrades. It was just a unilateral decision that Salva took by himself. Even the people that were promoted into the political bureau and elevated to the NLC, those decisions were not in keeping with the constitution and the rules and the regulations. You see, as I said, now there are specific provisions of the constitution that guide the actions of President Salva, and perhaps he feels that he has an axe to grind with those who are perceived as being close to Dr. John. Dr. John, he selected on his own the people that worked closely with him, or people who were in his headquarters. He chose different comrades for whatever reasons that he knew best. Maybe he thought that those comrades could perform in the SPLM. All the assignments that were given to me, whether the assignments that were political, diplomatic, or military in nature, I performed them, and I believe that I did them satisfactorily. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why late Dr. John kept me close to him. But when he died and Salva took over, I remember that I was actually in Khartoum at the time, so I was the one who was in charge, together with the NIF government, to make preparations for Salva's coming in to be sworn in as the first vice president. And I gave him my full backing and support. I basically told him that he can expect from me whatever I offered in terms of support to the late Dr. John, because for me, I was supporting the leader. I was not supporting, I was supporting the leader in the capacity of the leader. I'm not supporting a person, an individual person. Before I joined the movement, I knew neither Dr. Garang or Salva Kiir. I only came and saw them in the movement. And the first time when I arrived in Itang, in the refugee camp, I was shown by some people that, oh, that one is Dr. John. So I saw him from a distance. I did not even go to him. I did not even go to him to say hi or anything of that sort. I joined my military training just like the rest of the recruits. I managed also to distinguish myself even in the military training, and as a result, I was given the opportunity to join the first cadet, the first officers training, and I got trained and commissioned as a first lieutenant. So there's nothing really particular about my relationship with Dr. John. No, it's but unfortunately, maybe Comrade Salva saw it differently. But all along, even the few times that we were together with him, with Salva, we had a good understanding. I didn't happen to be one of those assigned to work with him, but I was assigned to work with Dr. John in his headquarters. But that does not mean that I was supporting Dr. John against him or anything of that sort. I respected both of them as my leaders, and when the time came for Salva to assume the mantle of leadership, I stood by him, and this is evidenced by the fact that in 2013, when most of our colleagues left, I remained with him because I was loyal to him. I was loyal to the party, you see. And to the extent that he remains loyal to the party and to the ideals of the SPLM, I would have no problem working with him as my leader.
Thank you so much, Honorable, for answering that question from one of the Judge Hammer or Judge Hammer during those days, Mauna. To Lex Media in the studio, please, the chance is yours now. And to our viewers, we deeply appreciate your time and for coming here to listen and also judge by yourself. We yield it back to Isaac Tim. If you are there, please display one question from the comment section, if there is one. And if not, then we move to the clubhouse. And to those who are in clubhouse, please try to be brief. Straight to the questions, only 2 questions. We'll still have more show in regard to the discussion of our political issues in the country with the Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial. So we will allow him to go because we have passed the time that we allotted for this conversation. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Majuk Makur, and thank you, Honorable General Nhial Deng Nhial and Abraham Wallich. We will move straight to the clubhouse. In clubhouse, have few people.
Yeah, give Isaac, give the chance to our relay.
Okay, well, if you are ready, open your mic and then you ask your question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, and hi to Honorable Nhial. Thanks for coming out to speak to your people. My question is really one and very, very simple. What is the difference between real SPLM and South Sudan Salvation Movement? From the way I heard your vision and your mission, it seems more like what Pagan is saying. So if you are speaking about the same thing, which is reforming the SPLM, why do you have 2 different movements? Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Maybe the position of Pagan that you alluded to as being similar or identical to my position is the reason why I joined the UPA. Because as a matter of fact, I believe that the SSM and the real SPLM, at the end of the day, will converge in the same place. Although Pagan has not officially declared that he's basically for the reform of the SPLM and that the real SPLM is a totally separate outfit, and I think he can speak for himself. But I do not doubt the fact that the reason that he called it a real SPLM simply means that he's still SPLM. So the SSSM and the SPLM, this is just a vehicle, but we embrace the same principles and objectives of the SPLM.
Honorable, you should adjust your camera so that at least you're
very good.
Yep.
Yeah, so
the next,
let us give the chance to Yapana. We run out of time, okay? We have only less than 10 minutes. Dr. Nhial? Dr. Nhial, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay.
Is it my turn to ask a question?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Madid, and also thank you, Uncle Nhial. This is Dr. Nhial. It's unfortunate we're meeting these circumstances. My question is this. You said that you left South Sudan because you had been informed that you might forfeit your liberty for whatever reason. And you left and then declared the formation of a new movement, the aim of which is to induce reform within SPLM. For many of us, these two realities are contradictory. And so why did you refuse to risk forfeiting your liberty for the sake of reforming the party from within?
Well, can I throw back the question? If you lose your liberty, then how do you reform the party from within?
Come again?
If you lose your liberty, then how do you reform the party from within? The fact that I've not lost my liberty is what has given me the opportunity to interact with you now and to put my message across. If I lose my liberty, I would not be able to do that. I would be silenced.
I think that question is answered. So if there is more, if there are more questions, bring them up. But I think the question is answered.
Yeah, Isaac.
Hello?
Oh, sorry.
And what was the reaction?
Joseph, repeat the question, Joseph. Repeat the question.
All right. Yeah, Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial, my question to you is when you close the mic again, are you guys hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial, my question to you is when President Kiir removed Awet Akot and Kuol Manyang and Wani Igga did, President consulted the senior leadership of the SPLM, and what was the reaction from Kuol Manyang and Wani Igga and Awet Akot? And thank you.
Absolutely no consultation whatsoever. I think they themselves were just shocked because it's such a drastic action that given the status of Wani, Awet and Kuol, these were basically President Salva's own colleagues. These are the people who are actually leading the movement. To be just and ceremoniously dismissed like that, I think must have been very shocking. But definitely, nobody was consulted. Maybe there are other people that Chairman Salva consulted, but not within the leadership of the SPLM. Nobody was consulted.
All right. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm around. Thank you, Malik. Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial, thank you so much for being here today. My question is very brief. You have been in the government, serving twice, if not thrice. What contribution did you make in developing South Sudan then, during your tenure as a minister and an advisor? And what other contribution would you make now if you had to go back as a president in 100 days? Thank you.
Very, very interesting question. Myself and many of my colleagues who have served in government and maybe those who are still serving are seen by the public as not having done anything. But the accountability is not just to individuals, it is to the government as a collective. And I can tell you that one of the factors may be responsible for non-delivery is the way in which our government functions. I can confidently tell you and many other people among my colleagues and other even members of the public can attest to that. The president does not even meet with the members of his cabinet. I mean, there are ministers and advisors that have to plead for months on end to see the president, to report to him, to seek his guidance on their work. They don't get audience, they don't get access. So there is a real problem in which the government itself functions, which is the reason why individual ministers may not have delivered, and the reason why the government itself has not delivered. Even the cabinet meetings that are held are basically formalities. These are perfunctory activities. But now, implementing the outcomes of those meetings or the resolutions becomes problematic because it's difficult to have follow-up. Basically, the ministers themselves need, from time to time, as things are happening, to have audience with the president, his excellency the president, to seek further guidance, directives. There is need for resources to be availed for those activities. You probably know that if you look at our beautiful budgets of the government of the Republic of South Sudan, you see we've got very glossy, beautiful budgets. You know, what's written in those budgets is not what happens in practice. You see, in those budgets, we all struggle as government departments or agencies to have a cut, you see, of the budget. But at the end of the day, very few of the agencies actually get their budget. All the money goes only to two agencies, goes to the presidency and to the and to defense. Defense basically, not necessarily in order to defend the Republic of South Sudan, but to defend the regime.
General Nhial Deng, there are a lot of people who would like to ask you questions. Can you give them 20 minutes of your time so that you can hear from them?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Our next one is, let us move to Jimosi. We did only one question with Jama. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I would like to agree with the Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial. My question is this: you playing a bigger role in our politics of South Sudan, and as you freeze your position within the SPLM, latest great hero, the people of the South in terms of the politics back then, and who also championed the politics against the Arab North or the Islamic regime, and which actually caused him and all of us that sacrifice he made. Later, we understood that Dr. John Garang was inspired by him as a great leader. In fact, we have talked about him last night in our group of Honorable William Nhial Deng Nhial and his great achievements and contribution. John Garang, we see him as a successor of Honorable William Deng Nhial, and you now here facing this turmoil of a political crisis in South Sudan. Unity become the crucial part of this struggle. And as we become so polarized, what do you tell the youth now as we go through this political storm and other crisis that is very confusing? Everyone having his own party, and everyone is not achieving anything. What is the message to tell the youth who are actually rallying behind leaders who seem to be revisiting the politics of the past of regionalism? What is your message to them? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a very good question. You know, we are committed to political pluralism, you know, multi-party democratic system. Again, because of the diversity of the people of South Sudan, by necessity, people have formed different multiple political organizations. There is nothing wrong with that. The problem are the means that people use to pursue their objectives. And that is why I said before, it is very, very important, whether in a multi-party system or whatever system, for the people themselves to be given the right, you see, to have their say in how they want their country to be governed, to have their say in who they want to govern them. Now, when that is done freely and democratically, without coercion or force or violence, then people accept the result. When people accept the result, then there will be no violence. If you accept the results, you go back, you continue organizing yourself, and then next time you develop maybe more attractive programs, and then you come to the people and submit your programs to them. And if they like those programs, then they can elect you into power. So the most important message that I would like to give to the youth is that there is nothing wrong with you supporting whatever political party you support. But make sure that in that political party or organization, try to pursue your objectives through peaceful means and to avoid violence. Now, this also imposes a responsibility on the government. You see, because it works this way. If you seek to use violence to take power, then whoever has power will also try to use violence to retain power. Now, that one we do not want. We want you to seek power through peaceful means, and we want to make sure that whoever has power only retains it through peaceful means, not through violence or by imposition. The youth are critical because those who are now involved even in communal fighting, killing themselves, are the youth. We believe that it is very, very important for them to fight with ideas. In politics, people fight with ideas, you fight with programs. You see, you don't fight with bullets. In a democracy, people fight with ideas, with programs, with ballots. They don't fight with bullets. So this culture of peace, peaceful political processes, is really the message that I would like to give to our youth.
Okay. Who is next?
The next one is Charles.
Are you hearing me, Madid Maja? I was clear. Madid Maja.
Yeah, we're hearing you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to question. I thank you, Elder Nhial, for coming out in social media. That's a great. We never expect that, but it's good. I have a question, but it seems like a condition question. I know you are not a regional leader; you are a national leader. There are so many voices in social media that regarding your outcomes, especially in Barghazal. They say you brought the divisions among the Barghazal. So what do you see there? Are you fighting for regional, or are you fighting for the reform entire South Sudan?
Yeah, another very good question. You know, communities, regions are not political organizations. They are socio-cultural outfits. I come from Barazal. I come from Tony. That is my socio-cultural identity. It is not my political identity. My political identity is SPLM. So if somebody says that my move has divided Barazal, that's totally beside the point. I did not make my move as a person from Barazal. I did not make my move to seek power for Barazal. I made my move to seek power for the SPLM. I want the SPLM to retain political power because that was the reason the SPLM was founded, and the SPLM has a program, you see. It doesn't matter where you come from. If you are SPLM, you are SSSM. We work together. You are the person that I'm reaching out to. But do not reach out to me as from Barghazal because I am from Barghazal. That is not, that's not what I need from you, you see, because Barghazal is not a political party. Upper Nile is not a political party. Equatoria is not a political party. A political party is the SPLM and other outfits that have people from different regions, people who are united by political ideas, by convictions. They are not united by regional affiliation.
Yes,
Thank you. Yeah, the next Jonkor.
Yeah, Jonkor and then Amico, I think.
No, Amigo will come last, so let us go to Jonkor and Sudan.
Let us go to Jonkor and Sudan.
Isaac, can I hear you?
Oh, okay, yes, sorry for that. Yeah. Repeat your question. Yeah, repeat your question, Jonkor.
Okay. Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial, my name is John Kormayol. I have two questions. You talk about the unity, how it is so paramount within the oppositions. Mading Deng one day said that things that we don't say are the things that divide us. And that's true. Now, you see that the oppositions, they have a hard time coming together for a very long time. And actually, they get to entertain the regime in Juba. Some people, they define the crisis in South Sudan in their own ways. They define it as a ethnic genocide. They define it as community. I want to know from you, how do you define the crisis in our country? That's my first question. My second question, you talk about the second phase of Jaysh al-Ahmar, or the young people to be given opportunity to lead. And the same leaders in the SPLM party, they are the ones that are refusing the norms of democracy, even within the oppositions. Sometimes if you are not somebody well known, your message will get nowhere. What can you do about that? Now you came out, and that's why you have been perceived with the hand clap and applaud. But there's a lot of people actually, they are opposition, but they are not being accepted. Just simply, they are not well known, and they were not in the bush with you or with your colleagues. So these are my two questions. How do you define the crisis, and how this issue of unity among the opposition can be achieved? Because the regime is survived when people are divided. Thank you.
Let me come in quickly. I think I might go off because my battery has gone down. Yeah. I mean, the crisis in the country, the nature of the crisis, it is purely a contest over political power. You see, our communities do not have a problem among themselves. You know, God has given us a vast land, a very rich land, with a relatively small population. So, you know, there are no things that can bring our people into conflict, our communities into conflict. Our communities have been engulfed into this conflict because of the contest of the political elite for political power, you see. And so people are mobilizing their communities here in order to access political power, not because there is a problem with the communities or the other communities. The problem, again, as I said, is that there is nothing wrong. You know, me, I don't believe in ethnic or tribal politics. I believe in ideas and programs. But if a politician believes that he has to organize or, mobilize his tribe, it is okay. But let that be done peacefully. If you want power for your tribe, give them ballots, mobilize them to vote for you. You see, this is for people who believe that because in a diverse country like this with so many nationalities, you just can't be a tribal or a political outfit. You have to be a political organization for all the people of the country, because everybody matters in our situation. You brought up a very important point about calamity democracy. This is the crux of the problem, because as I was saying before, even we in the SPLM, that don't have a democracy. If the political parties in the country are not democratic, then the country cannot become democratic. You see, the country itself cannot become democratic. Some people may have advantage, maybe if they've got a name recognition, okay, Nhial Deng Nhial, that's all maruf. Lakini still, even after that, Nhial Deng Nhial has to be accepted by the people on the basis of his program and what he stands for. It should not be automatic. Again, this is a new culture. And this culture, I believe that, as I said before, the Jaish Ahmar should play a role in forging a new political culture. Not to go the way we have gone. As I explained to you before, how the movement started and what some of the things that even delayed the liberation movement is also the thinking of our political leaders. Dr. John, Salva, Riek Machar, all these people, we are not saints. We are human beings, and we made mistakes. You see, there are things that we did that landed us into what we are today. But going forward now, as the new generation comes to take over, we should change that culture. We should have a new culture, a culture of tolerance, a culture of democracy, a culture of solidarity. You see, a culture of feeling that we are one people. We are all the people who live in this geographical space called South Sudan. We are all one thing. Yeah. I think I don't know whether we'll be able to take another question. My power is running out. I think it's 4%, but let us see. If I just disappear all of a sudden, then know that my power has gone off.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much. I think in the clubhouse, and those who have questions, I apologize for that. It's running out of battery power. So we're going to be having only one person who was here before Amico has left. I think he's there. Abraham said before Amico will be the last. We need only one person with one question. Amico, if you are there, open your mic, and we will remain in the clubhouse to continue with the show.
Can I just have this one? I'm going to be very short. Yeah, I will give up my question to Honorable Nhial Deng.
Because this guy, he's been here before me.
No, amigo, go ahead. I'm just listening. Don't worry. No. Please go ahead. It's your chance. I will talk to Comrade Nhial in different place. Go ahead.
Amigo, don't worry.
I'm just here helping organizing. Go ahead. I don't want to talk.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so very much. First of all, let me, Honorable Nhial Deng Nhial, we're so honored to have you. And thank you so very much for your time and for your sacrifice that you did for our country. I do have I have two questions, but I'll just ask you one question. I will just leave the other one. When you defected from the SPLM, you stated that I have hereby dissolved temporarily from the membership of the SPLM. And my question to you, are you telling us if there's any political settlement between you and President Kiir, you will go back to the SPLM and abandon South Sudan Salvation Movement? That's my question to you. I do have another question. This I will leave it for next time, and I believe you will come back again in this late media. Thank you so very much.
Definitely. I mean, the South Sudan Salvation Movement is a vehicle. It's not an end in itself. The end is a reformed SPLM is the end. So if Chairman Salva agrees to reform the SPLM to the satisfaction not only of myself, But all the members of the SPLM, of course, then I immediately go back to the SPLM. That's what I said. And I even said that if after that some people do not want to go with me back to the SPLM and they want to retain the SSSM, they are free to do so. We will welcome them to retain it. But it will have the same ideology and visions anyway, because our position is the position of the SPLM. The only problem is that we believe that what the SPLM stands for has been thrown away. So our responsibility in SSSM is to pick it up and rejuvenate it.
All right, I think Sudani have one question, then we will leave it that way. Sudani, are you there?
Yes,
Thank you, Igga Media, and Honorable Nhial. Greeting to you. I know time is short. We're hungry for you, and we were very yawning here to ask a lot of questions, and there's so many questions to be asked. And for you to come here, there's so many things that has been said, in particular, you as a Dinka politician, not because you are from Dinka.
Hang on, Sudani, I think he's run out of power.
Wait, Sudani, he fall off. I think he ran out. His camera shut down. He fall off.
Okay.
Yeah, he's run out of power.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is he still?
He's not here, it seems like. So maybe.
Yeah, he fall out. I think his camera is shut down. He has no power. Let him connect. When he comes back, we will let you know straight away.
Please allow
Ask this question because I wanted to ask this question about his the party that he's heading to. But in case if I'm not here, you can pass my